In the following video, we are comparing the Chinese city Guiyang to Arcology, which is a hypothetical hyper-urban 3D city design that you see before you now. This is a review of a very high-density city in China. It has 40 stories, and notice these plazas. These are really nice plazas, really wide. It has really wide sidewalks compared to New York City. New York City has terribly thin sidewalks, and the buildings are kind of squished together. Unfortunately, you have this very large road going through the center here, but you have bridges to go over it, so you don't have to go to signals. Notice there's very few signals, very few traffic lights. You can walk away from the road and get to quiet areas, like right now. You're far away from the road, you only hear the cars in the distance. For some reason, cars keep honking in the video. I don't know why, it's kind of rude, but they're always honking. There's some nice buildings right there. The buildings are not only 40 stories, but they're also fat. They've got some thickness to them, so it adds to the density. But notice what's very fascinating. Not in the whole city, but in many areas of the city, there's 2 floors of commercial space. So usually in almost every city I've seen in the world, there's only 1 floor of commercial space. This has 2. Now keep in mind, Arcology would be denser than this city, but it would have like 6 to 9 to 12 floors of commercial space, and of pedestrian walkways, and of roads. The pedestrian walkways in Arcology wouldn't be quite as wide. They'd probably be like half the width. But you have to divide the number of people by 6, because there's 6 vertical layers. So this is probably the best representation of Arcology that I've come across. It's really gorgeous. I really love it. They're so close to figuring out the ideal city. They're so close they can taste it. And I love this when you compare it to a place like New York City. This is fantastic. You don't get direct sunlight, but that's okay. It needs 2 things that really stand out to me that it's lacking is seating. It needs way more seating. It needs tables. It needs things to do in the plaza. And it also needs greenery. It needs like vines, flowers, trees. There's one tree, one lonely tree over there. And also there's not... Oh, actually, if you look coming up, there's 3 layers. Look at this. So you have the layer you're on right now. I think there's a layer that also goes down, right? Yeah, there's another layer. It goes down. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. This is really nice. Like, I hate when plazas, you just have one big plaza, and there's no vertical variety to it. It's just one big flat plaza, and it's kind of boring. Kind of like right here, could use a little bit more. I've heard that this whole city is less than 10 years old, so maybe give it some time to mature. Give it some time to mature artistically, and the community needs to mature. It needs to take time to just ripen. And this would be the same way in Arcology. Arcology would be kind of bland, maybe a little bit weird to begin with, but over time Arcology would get nicer and nicer and turn it into more of like a legitimate city. This place is like brand new. It's like sparkling. It's still shiny, fresh out of the box. It needs to be broken in, kind of like a shoe, or a good chair. So yeah, look at the size of those buildings. It's one of the comments. The comments of the video were very, very positive. I'll leave a video link in the video description. The comments were like surprisingly positive. They liked the width of the sidewalk. I feel like there needs to be more like restaurants and like outdoor seating. You can, especially with the overhang, because then even if it's raining, rain's not a problem. Oh, there's a tiny. I saw 2 tables. I think 2 sad-looking tables. You need like a full restaurant outdoor seating underneath those awnings, underneath those overhangs. Because then you don't have to worry about rain, don't have to worry about bad weather. And here's the second floor. If you look across the way, here's the outdoor seating that I was talking about. That just makes it a much better city. Look at the width of that sidewalk, man. It makes me want to make the roads in Arcology wider. Right now they're only 16 feet, and that includes vehicles. That includes 2 lanes for vehicles. It's like the absolute minimum for a shipping container to fit through on either side in Arcology. So, but it's a maximum, in Arcology, it's a maximum of 60 feet for the width of a road. We can go up to 60 feet. And then the 16 is like a minimum, and we can kind of play around with anything in between. So it can change based on the neighborhood, based on all that. There's no roundabouts. That's another big difference between Arcology and this place with the roundabouts. And then Arcology has the 3-story ceilings. So if you look up, you get the beautiful steel Star of David's hexagrams. I kind of like the soft light. The fact that there's no direct sun is a little bit depressing with this city. But that soft light, you kind of get used to it. It's like every day is a cloudy day. Because of the skyscrapers and the shade from the skyscrapers. But I mean, the more I watch this video, the more I like it. Here's some street vendors. I assume over time there'd be more street vendors. Although there's so much commercial storefronts that the rents are probably very low. So there's probably going to be no street vendors. And another problem. So Arcology has such a wide array of industrial and commercial sizes available. So you have 1 hexagon, you have 2 hexagons, 3 hexagons. You can make even like 5 or 6 hexagons if you wanted like a big hospital in Arcology. Here, where is the room for that kind of building? You don't really have room for a large grocery store, for a Walmart, for a hospital, for a factory of any kind. Like, I don't see a lot of industrial in here. This is only like retail, only commercial, and only like smaller commercial too. You don't have a larger commercial storefronts. So it's a little confusing. It seems like something that the city is missing, and it's very important. In Arcology, we have those bases covered as well, don't you worry. But, here, I was looking for this. On the right, you have a plant store, a store that sells nothing but plants. So that store is going to be doing a lot of business, and over time, you're going to see more and more plants, and you're going to see more and more greenery, which is what this place needs. This place needs seating and greenery. And I think the plazas are just a little bit too big. I love the plazas, but they're just a little too big. I would say cut the size in half, or maybe like 60%, 70% of what they are now. Like, look at the size of this plaza. Now, this is really cute. If you see up here, you have delivery trucks. See, there's some delivery trucks on the left. Here you have like a roller skating class, which is so adorable. That's fantastic. That would probably be in a hexagon in arcology. It would not be at the roundabout. The roundabout's just too much traffic. The roundabout's big enough for something like that, but you're gonna have bicycles and golf carts and stuff driving by, so it's gonna be a problem. So you would need like your own private hexagon for something like that, but that's okay. You just have to pay a tiny bit of rent. And so you go in here. Theoretically, this could be a hospital instead of like this kind of a mall-like area, right? Why couldn't you put like a hospital in there or a school in there? Like, where are the schools? Everything is a retail. So much retail. It's a little bit too commercial for my tastes. Like, I kind of like, the fruit is good. There's a fruit stand. I kind of like a little more spiritual focus. Less commercial, less consumerism, a little more spiritual. This plaza is huge, isn't it? These plazas are huge. I would make the plazas like, cut them down by like 1/3 of the size. Not to 1/3, but by 1/3. So 2/3, down to 2/3 of the size. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. And remember, a single great city design is more powerful than 1,000 crappy dystopias.